The results of the round of 16 are on the screen. As you can see, the first game that was played was between Wales and Denmark. A lot of us thought that Wales, due to their experience in the knockouts, would maybe edge it out. But then Denmark, with their unity, with the team spirit they've shown all tournament, they they ended up thrashing Wales 4-0, and the red card for Wales didn't help them. So that was game one that kicked us off for a roller coaster round of 16, I would say. What are your thoughts on this game, Ayush?
Yeah, it was a four-goal thriller. I'm actually a bit surprised to see Denmark come this far in the tournament, and that too without the services of Christian Eriksen. Although I loved the goal fest, and I was also really happy to see Lord Borthwaite get his goal at the 94th minute. So yeah, I think it was a really good game.
I mean, for me, all of you said that Wales were going to win. Only I think only I said that Denmark were going to win. And I think I even said that it's going to be a high scoring game. So I'm very happy that my prediction came pretty true. So it's a win win for me.
Yeah, that's why you need me in the videos. You had that with Deep.
So, I expected Wales to put up a fight, um, and I don't know what happened. I mean, Denmark, of course, they have the unity I've been talking about. The team they're playing for each other now. But Wales, they really just dropped off. And Harry Wilson in I think the 90th minute, 89th or 90th minute to get that red card. So I mean, they just lost their heads towards the end of that game. So go on, and best of luck for next time, and Denmark with a great victory.
I remember Abhik last week was rooting for a Dan James hat trick, and I remember Chinmay was quite supportive of his prediction there. But we move on to the second round of 16 game, that is Italy versus Austria. A result, I think on everyone expected Italy to win. No one expected Austria to pull the game that far. It went into the extra time, and Austria really did seem so good defensively, but then eventually Italy's substitutes did end up scoring the two goals, and yeah, they ended up winning 2-1 then.
I think you have to look at Austria. They really turned up for that game against Italy, and Chiesa, he was the game changer in that game, and I'm just happy to see that Italy looked that they could be defeated for the first time in that tournament, and they looked shaky at the back for some time, and they even conceded. So it's not as if there's some gods. I think this match pretty well showed that they can be defeated if some grit and determination can be shown by the other team.
I mean, for me, I think Austria did really well. People didn't expect them to do anything in this game. I think they never really slowed down. They always kept going for a goal, and I think that's why they managed to stay in the game for 120 whole minutes. But in the end, I think Italy had more quality. So yeah.
I think Italy underperformed their expectations over here. We were expecting them to smoothly cruise through this draw, I would say. But they did finally get it right in the end. Credit to Austria to keep the game till extra time. And yeah, as Videep said, they made the right call to bring Chiesa in, and yeah, he scored.
Third game, the first game we saw one of the big teams of the tournament, the so-called big teams out of the tournament, with the Czech Republic pulling off a huge surprise, upsetting maybe the odds that were against them, and they beat the Dutch 2-0. And yes, there was a delete red card that uh, maybe it was before the two goals, maybe which influenced the two goals. But no excuses there for the Dutch team, and it has eventually led to manager Frank de Boer's sacking. He has left the Dutch team at the moment, and what a game! No one expected it, and the Czech Republic have surprised all of us there.
Uh, I never liked Netherlands in this tournament, and I was thinking people were rating them too much. I actually expected Czech to pull it off here, but I never thought that it was going to be a clean sheet win for them. And I think this tournament has shown us that we need to pay more attention to Schick, as he's a very underrated striker.
I think this was the first controversial prediction I gave in the last video, and I'm really happy it came true. I just gave it for fun, but now that it's come true, I'm more than happy because I don't really like Netherlands a lot personally. I don't know why, but I just don't like them. So I'm really happy Czech won. I think they showed a lot of quality, and obviously, the Leeds red card didn't help at all.
I really, Netherlands is a team which surprised me. And when I say surprised me, I'm saying that they surprised me because they were able to qualify without, a lot of hiccups. I, I did in my own prediction say that they might go to the quarterfinal, but of course I thought they will face an easier opponent in this because Frank de Boer, I don't think he really knows how to manage a team. I don't. I've seen him at Crystal Palace. We've seen what Jose Mourinho clearly thinks about him, and you look at that game and it clearly showed. But as Vidhi rightly said, not taking nothing away from Czech Republic, what a team and what a group of players. Again, they're punching above their weight, and they are they're in here for a fight. I don't think they can be now counted as a pushover because if you do come into the round of 16 into the quarterfinals, I'm sorry, you are not a pushover. You're there for a reason. So I think they do qualify as rightful winners through this game.
I think another big game, one of the biggest games we would be seeing in the round of 16 was Belgium versus Portugal. And what an upset, another upset there. CR7 has been sent packing home by the Belgians. And it was quite a fair result there because the Portuguese, they were attacking, they were giving it their all, but they just never seemed to convert their chances. The attacking, we could see Cristiano Ronaldo trying, but then his teammates unfortunately weren't. We had Bernardo Silva, Diogo Jota, Bruno Fernandes. The firepower Fernando Torres possessed but couldn't utilize. And Belgium really scraped through, but then they deserved to win. What a goal by Thorgan Hazard there. But that was a poor game by Portugal, a good game by Belgium, and Portugal have been sent home. So much for the group of death, third place. Shoe in.
I I'm, I don't know how Belgium won this game. I don't know how because you take shots if you want to score a goal, and Portugal took 29 shots if I'm not wrong, and and they weren't shots which were going up and above. They were shots which actually did trouble Courtois and the defense. And you look at the Portuguese team, and I the only thing I can come up with is how did they not at least go to extra time? Because Belgium had one clear chance, uh, actually, not even a chance. Thorgan Hazard decided to shoot from long way off, and it swerved and it beat Rui Patricio. This is a game, by the way, I did predict will happen in the semi-finals of the tournament, though. It's happened 2 rounds earlier, and Belgium come out as winners. I just hope my prediction does come true. Videep, you know what I'm talking about.
I think for me, I mean, I think I predicted Portugal to win, so I'm a bit unhappy there that they got knocked out. But otherwise, I would say it was a pretty equal game, I would say. Although, like, obviously, Portugal had a lot of chances, but none of them were really a lot of clear-cut chances, the definite goals one. I think Courtois went a bit underrated in that game as well. I think there was a good keeping performance from him, and yeah, I think Thorgan Hazard, what a goal by him, puts Belgium in the quarterfinals. What a game.
So it is fair to say that Portugal were the better team in the game, not by a big margin, but at least they were attacking more. Their attacks were very repetitive and forced. It wasn't really intelligent or smart enough, and it looked like they were trying too hard. Anyways, that goal was amazing. I didn't even know how he scored that. It came out of nowhere, really. But this was Ronaldo's last Euros, and I think we are all going to miss him in the next one.
It's Cristiano Ronaldo. You just don't know. He might just come out of retirement if he wanted to
Yeah,
go and
true.
play another Euros.
I hope so.
Everyone hopes so. I think the only reason I was hoping Portugal win this tournament was for Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe, the World Cup's such a difficult trophy, and maybe this was his one shot at a maybe clear international trophy. He has won the trophy
He
before.
has one. He has one trophy. I don't think he has anything to prove to the footballing world or to any fan. I think he has a trophy, and it isn't even about trophies with Cristiano Ronaldo. He has done enough to prove that he is good enough.
See, two trophies is always better than one, is what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
yes, he has broken so many records already. Euros top scorer, international top scorer with this one tournament alone. So he really has nothing left to prove. He is the greatest of all time. Moving on to the next game, we had Croatia versus Spain. I think a game a lot of us were expecting to be a snore fest, maybe going to extra time. Yes, a lot of us predicted it to go to extra time, but not with a 3-all at 90 minutes. But I think this, along with the France Switzerland game, is one of the key games of the round of 16. And I really can't stress enough how much of a good game this was. But it is fair to say if Spain face more clinical opponents in the future, they might not win. But another 5 goals scored by Spain. They scored one in their first two, I think, and they've scored 10 in their next two. No one really expected Croatia to score so many, and by so many I mean 3. But what a game! I think this was one of the games of the round.
Yeah, what a week it has been. These are best days for Euros, and so many surprises, so many goals. 8 goals, wow! And Aspilicueta scored. I couldn't be more happy. I swear to God, that guy is so underrated. I don't think I have anything else to say here.
I think Spain were really good in this game, but I think they slacked off a bit in the later half of the game because Luis Enrique decided to change the entire left side of his defense. He brought in Pau Torres for Eric Garcia, and he brought in Jordi Alba for, I think, an injured Jose Gaya. So that shifted the momentum towards Croatia for a bit. So both of the defenders were pretty unsettled at the moment, so Croatia used that and took the game to the extra time. But in the end, I think Spain were very clinical today. They took their chances, and they've been creating a lot of chances even in the games in which they didn't score. So I think, yeah, Spain deserved to win, and they what a performance by them.
Well, of course, Spain's keeper, he had a hounder, and I don't know how that goal went in. And since that goal, it was all Croatia, Spain, Spain, Croatia. They were attacking, defending. Croatia were defending for their lives, but then attacking, and it was quite a good game. Creativity wise. Spain in the last 10-15 minutes just decided to show the world that okay, we are Spain, and we're going to go ahead with it. Croatia too came back, and then you saw in the extra time when Spain did throw the last 2 goals, Croatia did not have anything to respond with. So I think the better team on paper, I think, came through here. But you can't really doubt Croatia's efforts, and this game will be remembered as a classic in the years to come.
I would also like to mention that what a season Luka Modric has had. He's played like a leader for Croatia. He's not had the best season as a Real Madrid player, but he's been there. He's 35 years old. He's played 120 minutes of excellent football this game. He's played 90 minutes of all the other group games. And at 35 years old, he's played 40 games this season. It's almost unheard of if it wasn't, and that too in a COVID season where I think players were needing rest maybe every week, and it just shows how much this player is into the sport he loves so much, and
He's a
what a
baller.
performance by him.
He's a baller. Luka
He
Modric
is a
is a
true
baller.
baller. That's true. Um, I think the game of the round of 16, if not the Euros already, France versus Switzerland, the one game that went to penalties in this round. And I really don't need to say too much about this game because I'm sure even the viewers who don't follow the tournament as much are quite aware of what happened. The world champions have been knocked out by a Swiss side 3-all in 90 minutes, 0-all in extra time, and then Kylian Mbappe, the wonder kid, the man who stamped his name on world football in the World Cup, misses the last decisive penalty, and France are out of the Euros along with Portugal. And I can't say anything other than that. But what a game by Switzerland! And it really shows that this is an underdogs tournament since I think both the clear favorites at this point have been knocked out. So just go on with what you have to say, guys.
Upset of the tournament, really. Mbappe missed his penalty, and that's it. France are out, knocked out by Switzerland after getting through the group of death with Germany, Portugal, and Hungary. What the hell? France attacked more, but I think their negligence in the last 10 minutes cost them. They conceded 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. And we have been overlooking Switzerland a lot. That was crazy. There was a lot of controversy in the stands as well between the families of the French players. But let's not waste our time talking about that crap.
I mean, I'm really happy France knocked out because I really didn't want them to win or even compete in this tournament any further. So I think right now Deschamps might be missing Laporte, who just assisted in his own game, and now he's gonna play in the quarterfinals. So I mean, yeah, Longley, Varane, Kimpembe, they kind of disappointed all of us, and I think it's not Mbappe didn't show up, but it's not really his fault that he missed the penalty. So I think obviously he's a very young player and he has a lot of potential. So, but yeah, what a game by Switzerland.
France is out. France
That
is out.
covers, that
That's
covers it.
out. Switzerland, beautiful. Xhaka, baller. France is out. Paul Pogba, good goal. Doesn't matter. France out. You have this team of star players. What's the point if you don't play together? You know who else had star players? The golden generation of England. What's the point if you don't play together? What's the point? There's no point. You have to come up together and you have to play. France had that in 2018. They don't have that right now. Rabiot's mom worried about Pogba defending. Well, yeah, your son plays very well, doesn't he? Your son plays very well. He's the star player. Paul
Well, I
Pogba's
think
family.
Pogba did give away the ball for the third goal.
No,
To
no.
be fair, he did score a
I'm
worldie of a goal
I'm
that
not
I mean,
defending
but if he
Pogba.
gives away the ball,
Siddhant,
so it's
Siddhant,
basically cancelled
Siddhant.
out, right?
I'm not defending Pogba here. Hear me out. Pogba's family are fighting out with but what Mbappe should hit his penalty with some finesse. What was it all about? I don't know. They would talk
I
about
think
Mbappe's penalty too
he hit the penalty too
too
lightly. He should
lightly.
have hit
Exactly.
it.
so like yeah,
So
that was
if
the exact.
what the hell are Pogba's family and Rabiot's family and Mbappe's family doing talking to each other? I mean, if they're so good, why have Didier Deschamps? You should call these mothers to direct the players how to play. There's no point. That's what happens when you have so many star players on the pitch with no chemistry. And it was a tournament. I think the only good thing you can take away from this tournament is that Pogba had a very good tournament and Karim Benzema is back for France. That is the only two things I can take out from that tournament for France. And as a neutral fan, Granit Xhaka. I think he cries when he goes to the Switzerland national camp because he said this is the only time I get to play some real football. Because at Arsenal, I don't know, he's a joker over there. So great performance by the baller Granit Xhaka too.
I heard there was a bit of a dressing room scuffle between Pogba, Varane, and Pavard, I think.
And Pavard,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm not happy listening to that because does that mean Paul Pogba says Varane can't come to United. Please, Pogba, please talk to Varane. Explain that United is a good team and Pogba and Varane should be best friends. Please, Pogba, come on, Agent Pogba, please, we need you here. Pavard, I can't. He was invisible in that game. Sorry, Ayush, but he was invisible in that game. Pavard had no sense of what he was doing, and I don't think a right back should be defensively that frail, because that is one big reason Trent Alexander-Arnold does not feature for England these days. So if you are a right back, you have to defend, and you're invisible.
He
So
doesn't feature for England because he's injured. Otherwise, I'm quite sure he's a first choice
no, he would
right back.
not at all. Sorry, sir, not at all.
He would have
Yesterday's
started
game,
all three group games without a doubt. He wouldn't,
No, no,
England
no,
wouldn't
no.
have
He had
lost,
too much
wouldn't
rest, too
have
much.
drawn against Scotland if Trent
no,
played.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Sorry.
Yeah, but just because you
if
don't
if
think
if
so
if
doesn't
Jack
mean.
Grealish if Jack Grealish and Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane can't ball against Scotland, I don't think Trent Alexander-Arnold has some Roberto Carlos spirit in him to make something happen. Sorry, he is a great player, but I think yesterday's game proves that Trent Alexander-Arnold would not have fit into England's
Yesterday's game,
setup.
that would move us on to the England-Germany game. Yes, maybe Trent wouldn't have had his best game
He
because it
wouldn't have
was
had a
such.
game. I don't
Yeah,
care about
exactly.
stats.
Because
He
it
wouldn't
was
have had
such
a
a
game.
defensive game. It was such a defensive game. England rightly going with a 3-4-3 that shifted to a 5-2-3 eventually. But Germany didn't turn up, did they? I mean,
They did.
it
They
it
did.
looked like in the first 30-35 minutes Germany had the control, but come second half it was all England, and I think it was quite inevitable that England
That was
scored. I was hoping it wouldn't be Raheem Sterling because I was quite vocal against him pre-match,
It's not
but
just you. It's the world. Don't worry.
it is the word. That's true
Yeah,
because
don't worry.
before the goal, I think he was quite poor. Not
I
the
don't think
best
so.
touches.
Sorry,
Not the
I
best
don't think so.
touches. Yes, he was creating
He
space,
won back the
but
ball
that's
against
the same with
Goretzka
Saka,
and
dude. I
Müller.
mean,
Yes, I'm
yeah,
not.
I
I'm
mean,
not critical of Saka. I'm not critical of Saka. I think yesterday was the best performance of an England manager in the last 3 years, because everybody said Grealish should start. Everybody said Sterling needs to be dropped. Everybody. They said Kane should not play. Dominic Calvert-Lewin should come in. They said, what the hell is Saka, a kid, doing against this big German side? Well, he proved all of them wrong. Grealish came on at the right time at the 70th minute when he was up against his tired old age people. Hummels was good in the first half. Second half, he just lost his bit. Ginter already on a yellow card, he lost his bit. Southgate really proved a lot of people wrong yesterday. Really proved a lot of people wrong yesterday. And I think his team selection was on point. There is not one player in that team, and I challenge all three of you. There is not one player in that team last night where you could come up to me and say that this guy should not have played. There is not one player in that team.
bold claims. I'm
Let go.
quite. I'm
Tell
not
me,
going to.
tell me one player. Tell me one player.
I would argue for Saka, but since I
He,
mean
who
the
for Saka?
option. See, the option would have been realistically Sancho, but since he's got maybe 8 minutes of game before that game, he wasn't a realistic option, was he?
And
And
also, a lot of people they just overlook this simple fact is that Saka's played at wing back and right back and left back for Arsenal before. So Southgate wanted Saka and Sterling to drop back, something Sancho and Grealish really don't believe in right now at this stage of their careers. Grealish doesn't drop back, Sancho doesn't drop back. I think he was on point because Saka did drop back to win balls. Sterling did drop back to win balls.
in a
And then
back five, how much more cover do you need on a back five?
I think it proved why we needed the cover, and I think it proved if Germany looked very close to scoring, even though we went with the back five with two defensive midfielders. Even though we went with that setup, Germany still had two, three, four, five chances to score. Gosens could have scored. They had two free kicks. Muller could have scored. They could have won the game 4-2. I'm not even kidding. Even with that setup, imagine.
Let-
Yeah, I mean, even I feel this was a Southgate masterclass because I feel he purposely played the back five or the back three, whatever you call it, to keep Germany's attacking options at bay. And when the time was right, he put in Grealish. And obviously, I think people say Southgate doesn't like Grealish, but I think yesterday's game, he put all of his faith in Grealish. He put him at the right time. Grealish set up 2 goals and England go through. So I think Southgate really came through this time, and I think round of 16 is done. Quarterfinal should be easy for him. We're gonna see what happens next with Southgate now.
Yeah, things look really good for England right now, and I think yeah, they had a good win. Kane finally scored, uh, and I'm really glad they played with the five defender formation. It really worked to stop the wing backs from Germany's side. But I don't agree with Chinmay and Sid here. I believe that it was not supposed to be Saka's position. They are entitled to their opinion, but I think Saka didn't have the positional maturity or the game experience to start that game. You can't. Southgate couldn't have just thought that I will put Grealish in the last 20 minutes and he would surely score. That was a risk. That was just a cover up for Saka's game, I believe. Uh, so yeah, that's it.
I think yeah, I would agree. I think I told you
I
this
mean,
yesterday as well, Ayush, that I
Yeah,
think anyone other than Saka would have been a better option. But other than that, I think Southgate did well.
yeah,
I
and as
listen.
Chinmay said that.
As you've been saying the word risk. You said the word risk. I think the fact a lot of people, again, at the 80th minute, if I'm not wrong, at the 80th minute, Jordan Henderson suddenly stepped up to come on. Right at the 80th minute, Jordan Henderson suddenly stepped up to come on when the score was 1-0. Had it been 0-all, all of your claims would have come to peace because Jordan Henderson had no chance of coming on. It would have been Rashford or Sancho coming on. Sancho was
No,
warming
I
up.
think I think Henderson came on because Rice pulled a muscle on his thigh or
He
something.
he pulled up in the 85th minute when Kane scored, brother, not
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
And
No, no.
as
So
Chinmay said.
Henderson
Came
came
on
on
for
to
Rice.
offer. Henderson came on for defensive cover, and
No,
he
no. He
came
came
on.
on
He was
exactly
coming on
after
in the 80th minute after the goal. I agree, but he was
exactly
coming
after.
on in the 80th minute. For 4 minutes, Henderson was sitting up with his jersey, sitting up, ready to come on, ready to come on
Okay. I
at
wasn't.
1-0, at
I
1-0.
yeah,
So exactly. So when you say the likes of Sancho could have played, Rashford could have played, that was how Southgate knew, and the fans and everybody here knew that the game would be going. If it was going to be 0 at 80 minutes, of course you would see Sancho, Rashford come on for them to nick a goal or to go to extra time. So I mean, okay, look, you might have your qualms with Saka. I have to agree that I did not see him starting till yesterday morning. I did not see him starting myself, but I'm happy with his performance. I can't say I'm not happy with his performance because he did the job he was asked to do. He kept on coming back to win the balls, and he offered Sterling some good positional space and some good balls too. So I don't think Saka deserves criticism. Plus his age too, as I said. He was kind of inexperienced for the position and for the stature of the game, but I think he did come through.
Oh, don't get me wrong here. Saka's individual performance was really good. I am talking about Southgate. I'm talking about he shouldn't have played. He played well, but I think there were. I'm not criticizing Saka at all. Saka had a very good game.
Okay. Moving on to the final game of the round of 16. We saw the third red card of the round and a 120 plus first minute winner from Ukraine. And to say that Ukraine qualified as a third place team is a I think is a little too less achievement for them because Sweden qualified on top of their group, I believe, in Spain's group, and Ukraine I lost to Austria on the final match day, and Ukraine winning this is such a huge achievement for them. Zinchenko scoring, silencing his haters, criticism, and I think for a lot of the fantasy player owners would be quite glad that Emil Forsberg found the net, despite Sweden losing. But that was the game in a nutshell.
I think another game which went to extra time. Surprisingly, I think Sid would be the most happy one with this game, with Zinchenko taking the goal and Sid's favorite underdogs, Ukraine, making it into the next stage. So I'll just let him talk, do the talking.
I mean, yeah, thank you, Ayush, for giving me the opportunity to talk. So, like, I mean, I predicted Ukraine to grow through because I really like them as a team. I mean, not everyone, but some particular players, but I think I came off pretty lucky for Ukraine, I would say, because as soon as I switched on the channel, Zinchenko scored, and when I said that Ukraine need a 123rd minute goal, They scored, although it was their 121st minute, so, but that didn't matter. They scored and now they're through. So I'm really happy for Ukraine. And I think Sweden did well, but the red card really did put them off.
Yeah, it was
And
all you said. Zinchenko, he was said in TV coming live.
Ukraine wouldn't have won if he wouldn't have watched the match.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
exactly.
yeah.
Chinmay, your thoughts?
Ukraine are a very good team. Now people are taking notice of them. I have to agree. This is a very big blunder by my part, at least, because I thought that they are a Zinchenko army. But I have to take my words back. I have to take my thoughts back, and I think that they've come up here. They deserve to come up here. They possess, they have a Ballon d'Or winner as their manager. So Shevchenko, he does know how to score some goals, and he does know how to show up some goals too. So I think Zinchenko with a goal and assist yesterday. So yeah, I think very
Yeah.
good from Zinchenko there and the Ukrainian team. And heads up Sweden, they really tried their best, and I just hope that they can go ahead and do something in the World Cup. 1.5 years later.
That ends it for this segment. That was our review of the round of 16. I think that's it. That covers it up for this episode. We will be covering more Euros content. Probably get a video for the Copa America final. Who knows? But that's it for this week. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. And that's Football Match Daily for you. Thank you
Yeah,
for
you
watching.
just triggered all the Copa America fans right now.
I mean,
Who watches the Copa America?
to be
I don't watch
honest,
the Copa. I'm a
to be
football
honest,
fan, Ayush. I'm
I
a football
mean,
fan,
there's no
Ayush. I
difference
watch every
between
game.
Copa America and Messi fans, so.
I, I I watch every football game. I've stayed up before to watch Swansea play Crystal Palace, but I don't watch Copa America. Not my
see,
tournament.
Yeah, I
I
don't
would
think anyone is going to watch Argentina play Bolivia.